Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel with FPL Elman. So we're going to be going through my game week 16, team selection, game week 15, team review, some transfer thoughts ahead of game week 16, because we all know we have 5 transfers now, so I think the right time to start using some of them like a mini wildcard. Also going to go through some captaincy picks ahead of game week 16. But before we get into that, I should thank you all guys for the continued support on the channel. We are around, I think, 3 subscribers away from 900. That is the goal before the end of the year. So if you're new around here, enjoying the content, or just a regular viewer, make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit that sub button, make sure you leave a like, make sure you hit that bell and see any content going up on the channel, and also leave a comment on what transfers you're going to be making before game week 16. And also taking any much time, let's get straight into it. So I'm going to go through my game week 15 team review. I'm going to score 42 points. Liverpool goes 834, and a red arrow from 1.1 million to 1.6 million. Not really the greatest start to the month. I think that is 3 red arrows in a row, and we hope that I can be able to improve in game week 16. But in goal, you had Verbruggen in 3 points, conceding to West Ham in the last minutes of the game. So, yeah, 3 points from him. Chalobah keeping a clean sheet at some DEFCON points against Bournemouth for 11. Van Dijk and Richard blanking. I think Richard's got some DEFCON points for 4 points. Semenyo, 3 points, blanking once again. I'm considering selling him, but we'll go through the transfers when we reach there. Saka managed to score 4 points. I think he got an assist. Anderson, DEFCON points for 4. Minte blanked. I think when everyone started jumping on the bandwagon, he started blanking. So at least I enjoyed some good points from him before everyone jumped on the wagon. Then we had Haaland who blanked 4 points, Mateta and Voltemade blanking as well. On the bench we had Dubravka with 3 points, I think also Timber with 3 points, and Rodon and Longstaff 1 and 0 points respectively. So all in all, not a very good game week, but hope for game week 16 we can be able to improve. So let's look at what game week 16 has in store for us. So before we get into the Game Week 16 team selection, first we'll start off with some transfer thoughts ahead of Game Week 16. The first transfer is Longstaff to Foden. I think it's a no-brainer. I think Foden is a must buy, and Longstaff is going to be out until I think next year. So I think it's a must sell for me at this moment in time. I want a better chance than to bring in someone like Foden, even on 11.5. I think is it 5 goals and 1 and 2 assists in the last 3 games. He's been unstoppable. And yeah, he was subbed off early as well against Real Madrid in the Champions League. So he just guaranteed he's going to start against Crystal Palace, who are going to be without Munoz, by the way. So there's going to be high chances of scoring in that game. So yeah, I think Foden is a must buy for me. I think even if you don't have Foden, I think he's a must buy. Good fixtures coming up. Crystal Palace, West Ham, Nottingham Forest, Sunderland, and Chelsea in their next 5. I think that's a decent run of fixtures. But of course, with Pep Roulette, you never know who's going to start, who's going to be benched. But Foden started 3 games in a row or 4 games in a row. So I think he's in the same level as the likes of Foden and I mean the likes of Haaland and Donnarumma. So he's going to be a regular starter. I'm just saying that I hope so. He's going to be a regular starter, but we just have to wait and see. That's the first transfer I'm thinking about, and let's look at the second transfer. So the second transfer is going to be Virgil van Dijk to Anderson from Fulham, and of course, for obvious reasons, Liverpool have been very, very shocking in the Premier League when it comes to defending. Such a weird team because in the Champions League, they practiced against Real Madrid, they practiced against Inter Milan, and then when it comes to the Premier League, they consider they are against Brentford, Leeds. I think just very weird team defensively. I think it's time to let Van Dijk go. I think the good fixtures have come to an end. They have Brighton, Spurs, Wolves, of course, a very easy fixture, but then they have Leeds and Fulham as well. I think tough fixtures for Liverpool coming up, and I think it's the right time to sell him. I think he's a bit expensive as well for what he's giving back, and yeah, that's why I've chosen to go for Anderson. Defcon Beast, of course. Fulham not keep a lot of clean sheets, but if you look at Anderson's points, a lot of Defcon points in there, and very good fixtures coming up in their next 3 or next 4, I must say. Burnley, Nottingham Forest, West Ham, and Crystal Palace. Then, of course, a tough fixture against Liverpool. Very decent fixtures for clean sheets and also some DEFCON points as well. So that's the second transfer I'm going to be doing now. Let's look at the third and final transfer. Then the third and final transfer is going to be Mateta to Thiago from Brentford. I think the form from Arteta has been very shocking. And as well, Man City coming up next. I think he has a slight injury concern, as Glasner mentioned. He's going to be missing the Europa League or the Conference League game tonight. So I think it's the right time to just sell, just a blessing in disguise that injury. Really, I think Glasner is just protecting his player. I think he's going to play against Man City, but it's going to be a tough fixture. Man City have been looking very strong defensively, and yeah, even against Real Madrid, although they consider they look very strong. The game against Sunderland, they look very strong defensively as well. So I'm not sure if he's going to get any attacking return. And I think he's only been one attacking return in the last five. So yeah, I think it's time to sell and go for someone else. And the player chosen is Igor Thiago, and that's mostly because for his game week 16 and game week 17 fixtures, playing against Leeds and Wolves in those fixtures, I think it's a no-brainer to have someone like him in there. Of course, he's got a lot of penalties, but he also brings a lot of effort to the team. He also gets some assists here and there, but predominantly it's just been penalties. And I hope that against Leeds and Wolves, it can be something more rather than just penalties. But I think Igor Thiago is a very, very decent pick for those fixtures. So with those transfers in mind, let's look at my game week 16 team selection. So that's the defense is going to be looking like for game week 16. We're going to be having Verbruggen in net against Liverpool. Not the ideal fixture, but of course, once I brought Verbruggen into the team, his form dipped after going for four game week in a row, scoring about 5 points. Now it's just been 2 points. So I think against Liverpool, I think they're going to concede again. But just hoping for some save points in there. Maybe you never know if there can be a clean sheet in there because Liverpool have been such a weird team this season. Then you have Chalobah against Everton. I think Everton are going to score in this fixture. And I think for Chalobah, I don't think it's going to be any clean sheet, but hey, it is what it is. Hoping for attacking return and some depth points in there as well. Then you have Timber against Wolves. I think it's currently flagged because of Arteta's comment saying that he was not in the squad because of an injury concern that he picked up in game week 15, but it could just be mind games from Arteta. But I think against Wolves, I think he's going to start. I think he has to start as well. So I think there, and if he starts, that's a guaranteed clean sheet. Then we have Anderson against Burnley. I think very chance for a clean sheet in there as well, and some DEFCON points. And I hope he's going to deliver some big, big points as well. So that's the defense and the goalkeeping departments looks pretty solid, especially the defensive line. Not so sure about the goalkeeping, but yeah, it is what it is, and I hope we can be able to perform in there. So now let's look at the midfield. So this is how the midfield is going to be looking like. We're going to be having Saka in there against Wolves, and I think he's also going to be my captain for this week. I think it's a no-brainer to have him as a captain against a poor Wolves team. But concerns coming out that Arsenal fans think Arteta is going to rotate, but I don't think he's going to do that in the Premier League. Maybe in the Champions League or FA Cup, he might do that. I think the Premier League is going to start his best team because in the Premier League very unpredictable league. But it's say against Wolves, maybe it's predictable, but I think he's still going to start Saka in there. And I do hope he's going to perform as the captain. Then we have Semenyo against United. I was so close to transferring him out, but I do think against United there's a high chance of attacking return. United have been looking a little bit strong defensively, but as well looking very shaky defensively. So yeah, when you know how United can be, one day they're going to be good, one they're going to be terrible. So maybe now it's the time for Semenyo to capitalize on that. And they also have Burnley and Brentford coming up. So I think it's just going to hold him for a while. And if he continues blanking, I think it'll be time to move him on. Then you have Foden against Crystal Palace. I know I've missed some crucial points when it comes to Foden, but now he's in the team. Hope he's going to continue performing. Very decent fixture that was as I've spoken about earlier in the video. So and against Crystal Palace in game 16, hope he's going to perform. Then the last player is going to be Minte against Liverpool. Very tough fixture. But as I've mentioned, Liverpool very poor defensively in the Premier League. And I do hope that Minte can cause them some problems, able to get some attacking returns in there as well. So that's the midfield. Looks pretty solid, full of goals and assists. And let's look at the forward line. So this is how the forward line is going to be looking like for game week 16. You're going to be having Haaland in there against Crystal Palace. Also a very strong chance for captaincy, but I think now 60-40 toward Saka, so Haaland is still a close second. Then we have Thiago against Leeds. Going for a very strong performance, a tricky penalty as well, as is customary to Thiago this season. We very much appreciated. Just a huge performance from him. Then you have Walter Made finishing off the team in a derby against Sunderland. I still do think Newcastle are going to win this fixture, but the question is Walter Made going to perform? He's not on penalties, so I think that's slightly concerning in the long run as Gordon now is on penalties guaranteed. You could always see that Walter Made does take the penalty, but Gordon just pulls rank and takes the penalty instead. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that Sunderland game is going to go versus Newcastle. Let me know down in the comments how do you think the game is going to end. And yeah, there's the bench. We have Dubravka against Fulham. We have Richards against Man City. Yeah, you're going to be on the bench. I think Haaland is going to score. Then you have Rodon against Brentford and Nelson against Spurs. I was considering a bench boost, but it doesn't look like the most inspiring bench. So we'll have to wait for that cheaper a little bit longer. But yeah, that's the team for Game Week 16. Looks pretty solid from the defensive line to the midfield and to the forward line. And I hope it's going to deliver some huge, huge points. So now let's look at some captaincy picks ahead of Game Week 16. So these are the captaincy options I've gone for ahead of Game Week 16. And the first player, of course, is Haaland against Crystal Palace. High chance of scoring in that game. He did score against Real Madrid and is going to be on fire as well. So he's on form at the moment. Although the Premier League has been blanking out from game to game, but I do hope that that Real Madrid game is going to give him some boost and he's going to perform against Crystal Palace as they push for the title. Then the other captaincy picks is Igor Thiago against Leeds. I think Leeds have been very poor defensively, but they do concede a lot of goals. But they look good going forward. But when it comes to defending, they look very poor. And with Brentford being at home, and they've been on fire this season, you got Thiago, maybe a cheeky penalty as well. So I think he's a strong captaincy contender as well. Then we have Saka against Wolves, very, very strong captaincy option. And I think I'm going to be captaining Saka, but I think it's still 60-40 as I mentioned, but we'll have to wait and see. So the three captaincy options, I think, is one of the three best ones. We were supposed to rank them from one to three. I'd go Saka, Haaland, and Thiago in that particular order. But as the captaincy picks, that's my Game Week 16 team selection, my transfer thoughts as well. So if you managed to reach this far, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and also make sure you check out my social links down in the description. And I'll see you all guys later. Bye bye.